Hi Stampers, welcome back. I'm here for part 2. Yesterday I showed you how to stamp on a window sheet using this Stays On Black ink, and we actually did this part already yesterday, so if you want to see part 1, just go ahead back to my other video and see how we did this. So today we're going to be finishing up the card. So what I've done so far is I've actually just cut a piece of 4 by 3.5 inch piece of window sheet. And we went ahead and stamped on that, and we went ahead and put Dazzling diamonds on it, and we let it dry. Now we're taking another piece of white cardstock, 4 by 3.5 inches, and we're going to go ahead and attach that dried window sheet to that. So I just used a little bit of adhesive in the corners here, a little bit of snail, and that should hold it in place just fine. Alright, you just don't want to put it in the center or close to the center because you're going to be cutting out the 3-inch circle here, so we don't want to see any glue coming through. Okay, and that's actually going to be setting right inside like that. Alright, so we're going to set that on the side for now. The other thing I've done is I've taken a piece of DSP patterns paper, and this is in the Blushing Bride, and this is cut 4.25 inches by 5.5 inches. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and cut 2 pieces. We're actually going to have one designer series paper and then one in the Blushing Bride, the regular cardstock. You're going to go ahead and score on both of these at a 1/2 inch and at 1 inch. So I'll show you how we're going to do that. Just going to use I'm going to use my score pail here. And all I've done is I've taken the scoring blade and I've scored it 1 inch, and then I've scored it a 1/2 inch, and then I turn it around and I did the same thing on the other side. And I did that with both pieces exactly the same. So 1 inch and a 1/2 inch score line. And that's going to be on the short side. Then you're going to just fold up the 1 inch score line towards you, a 1/2 inch away from you. Same thing on the other side, just turn it around and do the same thing. And we're going to flatten this piece out. We're going to do the same thing with our Blushing Bride cardstock, just the plain cardstock. Okay. On the pattern paper, we're going to go ahead and cut a 3-inch circle using our circle cutter. So you're going to need a glass mat. And we're going to go ahead and put our piece of designer series paper down there using the Dotto adhesive. And I'm going to put quite a bit on here just to hold it in place. Okay. And we're going to center it right in the middle of our glass mat. Get that really down nice and tight. Okay. You're going to take your Circle Scissors Plus and center it. You know, just kind of eyeball it for now because we're going to try to make sure we have this perfectly centered. And I'll show you how I do it. I take out the cutting blade, and then I just kind of put my finger in here and I run it around just to make sure that I've got it centered equally on both sides. It looks like I'm a little bit off, so I'm just going to go ahead and bring it down just a little bit. And I'm also able to see where my 1 inch score line is too by doing this. And I'm just running over it a little bit on either side because you're going to be real up close. And just center it as best you can. And I do this, you know, 3, 4, 5 times just to make sure that I've got everything even, rather than have to cut it twice. Go ahead and put your cutting blade back in and hold on to it nice and tight. And press down as you're cutting. I usually go around a couple times just to make sure I got a nice cut. And you're going to go ahead and pull this up. And you can use the center piece, the center circle, for another project later. So we'll get rid of the glass mat. And we'll start assembling our card. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this, the acrylic, to the inside of the card. And again, using just a little bit of snail adhesive. Place it down in the center. And you can kind of look through the window here to see if that's where you want it. You may want to go down a little bit more. but that's pretty good. Okay. Then we're going to take our plain Blushing Bride, and we're going to be using, again, some more adhesive here. And I just put some on both edges of the scored lines. And set it down. Make sure it's lined up so that you've got it nice and even. And press down real nice and tight, and then you can refold. And there you go. Now all that's left is the embellishments, and I've used a little bit of the rhinestone jewels, and I used the bigger one, and I just kind of put those up on an angle towards the card itself, just to give it some extra little sparkle. And then as far as the stamp that I used the Just For You from the Just Believe set as well, and went ahead and used my word window and just punched that out. And I think on that card I used Friends, but from another set, but you know, whatever sentiment you'd like to use. And the only other thing I did is I did take another piece of Blushing Bride cardstock, and I ran this through the crimper. And I just want to make sure I have the right size, so we're going to trim this down just a little bit. And I just hand trimmed this. I didn't punch it out or anything. Make this a little bit smaller. And then we're going to go ahead and just make a couple little cuts on the end just to give it a little bit more interest. And I went ahead and used the snail once again to attach my sentiment. And then I used a couple Poppin' Dimensionals here, little Stampin' Dimensionals, to kind of lift it up a little bit. And before I placed it down, I went ahead and just added a little piece of ribbon behind there. And that's all there is to it. And then we're just going to put our sentiment down, and you have a beautiful card just for you. Hope you enjoyed that. Have a great day. Check out my website when you get a chance. I have a lot of more tips on there. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.